Hello and welcome to the second video from Hobby Librarian. I'm Blood and Fury.
And I'm Bees, and today I'm going to show you the best way I found to paint black armour. Lots of people struggle with black, but I'm going to show you a technique that uses dry brushing and washing to get the edge highlighted look with no edge highlighting. We'll be painting the whole of the armour Eshin Grey, dry brushing with Dawnstone, washing with Nuln Oil, dry brushing again with Celestra Grey, and then washing it one final time with Nuln Oil. Start by undercoating your model black. Obviously we want the model to be as dark as possible when we're finished, so this is the best colour to keep the greys muted. The next step is to paint the whole armour Eshin Grey. Make sure your paint is nice and thin. If it's thick, you'll end up with streak marks that will catch the paint when you dry brush.
You can use an airbrush to speed this process up a little, but for this video, Bees will be using a large base brush.
The first coat you put on will look a bit patchy, but you'll be wanting at least one more coat, possibly two. Wait for each coat to dry completely before you start on the next. After two coats, you can see we have a nice even coat of Eshin Grey. Next, we're going to dry brush the armour with Dawnstone. I'm using a large dry brush and going in a circular motion over the model. You don't want to be too heavy with the dry brush, but you do want to make sure you pick out all the details. For curved surfaces like shoulder pads and helmets, try and get the highest points while leaving the lower areas.
And remember, it's always best to put too little paint on than too much.
Here's the fully dry brushed model. When it's completely dry, you can move on to the washing. The next step is to wash the model with Nuln Oil. Depending on the model, you might need more than one wash at this stage. I found that Primaris Marines needed 2 coats, while regular Tactical Marines only needed 1. So I suggest you experiment and see what works best for your models.
We haven't tried this on any Black Legion yet, but I'm sure it would look deliciously heretical.
I'm using a medium shade brush and I'm just taking it straight from the pot. Just slap it on the model nice and thickly. You can always take some off before it starts to dry.
Watch the Nuln Oil dry to begin with, and check it's not pooling anywhere. If it does start to pool, take a clean and dry brush and just slightly press it onto the paint, and it will suck any excess paint off. After 2 or 3 minutes it will be too dry to do this to, and if you do touch it, you will start to leave rings, so be very careful. And just make sure to leave the wash to dry completely before the next step. It'll take about half an hour.
Here's the model with 1 coat of Nuln Oil. It still looks quite grey, so I'm going to darken it up with another wash. This is exactly the same as the previous step. Here he is after the second wash. As you can see, he's looking a lot darker. There is one more wash to go on later, so he still looks a little grey at this stage, but this is about the colour that you want to end up. Next we're going to do what I call a directional dry brush with Celestra Grey. The idea here is to just pick out the extreme highlights on the model. This means the edges of things that will catch the light. It includes the edges of armour plates, the tops of the knees, fingers, that sort of thing. On this model I'm paying special attention to the top of the head, the trim of the shoulder pads, the collar, the knees and the toes. With Space Marines, don't forget to catch the edges of the armour on the back of the legs too, but you only want to catch the edges. I'm using a small dry brush to get as much precision as possible.
So could this be used on any armour, not just Space Marine armour?
Absolutely, yeah, you can use it on anything, Eldar, Orcs, you can even use it on clothing if you've got black clothing and cloaks to do. It would look awesome.
Awesome. And here's the dry brush model.
After the directional dry brush, you want to do 1 more wash with Nuln Oil. If you do more than 1, it mutes the edge highlighting too much, but 1 wash blends everything together. And here is the finished model. So as you can see, all the armour detail has definition, and there's the appearance of edge highlighting without any of the hard work. It makes painting black armour really quick and enjoyable.
A lot of people can be intimidated by white or even yellow armour, but black can be just as difficult to paint.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a Black Templars army and I never finished painting them because the edge highlighting was so tedious. But with this method I sped through my Deathwatch kill team in no time.
I hope this helps make painting black armour easier for you guys.
And we'd love to see anything you paint using this technique.
Especially Death Company.
You mean Black Templars? If you do use this, please let us know how it worked for you in the comments, and tag us on Twitter if you post anything you created using one of our videos. We really enjoy seeing other people's work. Our Twitter details are down in the description.
And until next time, happy painting.